I will never forget Twitter when that shot went in. Like I don't know if I've ever seen like a crazier reaction out of everybody watching a game. Is there a fix till the All-Star game? Like where does the NBA go from here?
There's a clip of Kobe saying like they play harder at pickup games at UCLA.
Welcome back to the Alley Oop Podcast. I'm Brian. That's Casey. Today on this episode, we're going to be talking about All-Star Weekend and giving our thoughts and opinions on how that weekend just went in the NBA. We're also going to be doing a little draft, a new segment later on in this video, picking our favorite game winners of NBA history. Make sure y'all stick to the end of the video to check that out. But with that being said, let's jump right into All-Star Weekend.
What's going on, guys? It's Casey from the Alley Oop Podcast here. We're going to talk about the three-point contest this weekend, as it was very entertaining and electric. Brian, let me hear your thoughts.
Yeah, three-point contest. A three-point contest is honestly becoming the best event of All-Star Weekend because the dunk contest has just been going downhill. We'll get to that in a little while. But as far as the three-point contest, I didn't think the players necessarily put up great numbers, if I'm being honest, especially compared to previous years. But with that being said, it was super competitive. There were like four guys that had 26 at one point. That was fun. Cat was playing or shooting well. Dame, obviously, who ended up winning it. So it was a really fun event. I do love the three-point contest. And I mean, I don't know, on the broadcast, people were saying that they should make that the final event of the night. I don't know. That could work out. It definitely has been more exciting than the dunk contest in recent years. But, it's always a fun time. I mean, I do wish that we could have seen like Steph in the actual three-point contest itself, but we'll get to Steph and Sabrina in a little bit as well. I thought that was a massive success. I absolutely loved that. It was super fun. Great to watch. Again, we'll talk about that more in depth in a couple minutes. But yeah, as far as the actual three-point contest goes, it was dope. Good for Dame. I think that's now a two-time three-point contest winner for Dame. He also, yeah, he won last year too.
Yeah.
That's right. I saw that today on Instagram. So, yeah, I mean, Dame's a shooter. I mean, it's crazy. He hasn't even had that great of a year, but he's a shooter. And then he obviously went off in the All-Star game, which we'll talk about later as well. But, yeah, I thought the three-point contest was a lot of fun. Definitely aside from Steph and Sabrina, the most fun event of the night.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was Trae Young, Halliburton, Dame, and Cat all had 26 in the first round going into the tiebreaker. And we know Dame obviously prevailed. With Curry in the three-point contest, I feel like he'd be like a five-time winner. I feel like, I mean, what did he put up? 29, I think. He put up 29, and I forget the game-winning score in the final round, but it was 26 all night. And that's what Sabrina ended up putting up. So the announcers were making jokes about like how she would have made the final round, which is funny. But yeah, I mean, the three-point contest is definitely the most electric, and it's like the most exciting because who doesn't like watching good shooters shoot the basketball compared to like the dunk contests, which in past years, dating all the way back to like Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine was absolutely electric. And now you got Jaylen Brown and Jamie Hawkins Jr. Like, I don't think I've ever seen them dunk the ball in a regular season game. Like, and like Jacob Toppin, who's like not even in the NBA. He's in like a G League team. So like, I don't know. Mac McClung obviously was the best guy there going back to back, but wasn't as entertaining as years prior, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I don't really know. I mean, another thing that going off of that, let's talk about, like, before I ask you what I'm about to ask you, I do want to talk about Steph and Sabrina, but I do have something I want to ask you about the dunk contest in a couple minutes. But just real quick, I agree. The dunk contest has kind of just fallen off. And I think at some point, like, what more can you do? Like, I don't really know where the NBA goes with the dunk contest. There's really not much you can do. I think that. I think the judging has to be different. Like, it needs to, like, I don't know. Like, Jaylen Brown got like a 46 or a 47 for jumping over Kai Cenat, and he was sitting down. Like, I saw on First Take today, Shannon Sharp was ripping him. He was like, Jaylen Brown jumped over a guy who's 3 feet tall, and then sitting down, he's 1.5.
I
I was like, dude, like, he's not wrong. Like, Kai's like 5 feet. I'm taller than Kai. Like, but no, so I don't know. I mean, I do like applaud Jaylen Brown, who's the only All-Star actually participating in the event, only like named player participating in that event.
Yeah.
So good for him. But yeah, that's definitely something that I think the NBA's got to work on as far as just making that. I don't know. I don't really know what they can do. I think part of it's also on the players. The players don't want to participate, and like that's fine, but it hurts the league. Like I would
Yeah.
love to see somebody take initiative and actually try, like, just to get new faces and people that like players that people know and love. Like Ja Morant in the dunk contest, that'd be sick. Like
That'd be
Zion,
electric.
like that'd be so sick.
Yeah.
But they don't want to do it, so I don't know. It's another thing. But talking about Sabrina and Steph, let's jump into that real quick. I thought the event was perfect. It was great. It was hyped up all week, all month by the NBA, and it was awesome. Sabrina shot from the NBA three-point line. She put up the winning score of the night was 26. Like that's how much Dame put up in that final round. He put up 26, and that's what he won with. Sabrina had 26. Like she balled. She's a hooper. Like we know this, but she's a dog. Like it was super fun to see her actually succeed. And then Steph coming down to the final rack to beat her. Like it was just I thought it was
Yeah.
awesome. It was a lot of fun to watch. And there's a lot of speculation about next year because the All-Star game is in San Francisco with Golden State. They were saying that maybe next year they bring in Klay Thompson, Caitlin Clark, do a little bit of a shoot off. Some people talked about like Dame. So let me ask you,
So that.
going off
Yeah.
of that, right? Like let's say it was a 2v2, like who would you want to see next year in this kind of 2v2 showdown?
All right. I mean, first off, gotta keep Sabrina and Kurt because those are like the two best. I don't think you can go far away from them. Next up, I think you gotta go Caitlin Clark. I know she's still at Iowa, but she's an absolute dog,
She's
shooting
crazy.
from literally half court Curry range, and just like nothing but netting it every single time. So gotta go Caitlin Clark. And then for the next guy, I mean, I guess if it's in the Bay Area, they might have to go Clay.
Yeah,
But I feel like Dame would be a better option. I don't know.
that's what I was gonna
Clay
say.
was hot in the last game before the All-Star break. He had like 36 points.
Yeah.
So
No, he hoops finally. I mean, it took him. He's been terrible this year, but he finally went off in that last game. But no, I agree.
finally,
I think they would go with Clay just because it's in the Bay Area and like it's like all that. But I would love to see. I saw somebody say like Steph and Sabrina versus Dame and Caitlin Clark. I think that would be sick. Like, I think that'd be a super fun matchup to watch.
that'd be tough. Yeah, that'd be definitely insane. That'd be super. I think that'd be the number one event of the week
Oh yeah.
of All-Star weekend,
Oh yeah.
easily.
By far, by far. But all right, let's go talk about the game. I have my issues with the All Star game. I'm gonna let you talk about it first, but the final score, in case any of y'all did not watch or forgot, it was 211 to 186 in favor of the East. The game was a blowout, pretty much start to finish. Honestly, I'm in Italy for those of you who don't remember or didn't know, so I did not get to actually watch that game. It started at 2 a.m. So I woke up, watched the highlights in the morning. I felt like it was a really weak All Star game. Like I understand like the defense and all that stuff, like whatever, but I just felt for me it wasn't entertaining even watching the highlights. So Casey, I want to know what your thoughts were on the game itself, and then the question I wanted to ask you before. There's a lot of backlash about the All Star game right now. Adam Silver has been saying all week leading up to it that it was going to be more competitive and that it was going to be an actual game. That couldn't have been more untrue. The game was a blowout and they scored
Yeah.
400 points. So is there a fix to the All Star game? Like, where does the NBA go from here? And just what were your thoughts on the game in general?
First off, I'll talk about a potential fix. I saw this on Twitter, and I think it would be a very interesting idea. Is that the winning team's conference gets like home court advantage in the NBA Finals, meaning like they'd get four out of the potential seven games.
Yeah,
Which I mean is definitely an incentive for those of the teams that are competing, and I definitely think it would make it like very more entertaining. Thoughts on the game? I mean, it was just I only got to watch the first quarter before going to bed, but it was absolutely a blowout, and it was absolutely fast break oriented and not entertaining. I got to watch the highlights in the morning, and Karl Anthony Towns had 50 points, yet only three of his baskets were shown in the highlight tape, along with him scoring 10 points in the final minute 40 of the fourth quarter. So it was just a lot of fast breaks, a lot of there's a clip of Luca, I think it's Luca and Jokic like passing the
yeah,
ball
yeah.
back and forth without even dribbling. Like it's just so unserious, and it's just like obviously like it's entertaining to see Dame and Halliburton shoot from like mid-court, but like it's just not like an actual game. And there's a clip of Kobe saying like they play harder at pickup games at UCLA,
Right.
talking about the All-Star game and how he's like not okay with how it was and how when he was in the All-Star game, when it comes fourth quarter, he'd give it all he got. And I think that's just something we do not see anymore today. So
Yeah, and that's just like what Kobe kind of embodied like his whole career. I know exactly what you're talking about that interview, and in the last time we really saw a competitive All-Star game was that year that he passed. That when they changed the format, we actually just posted clips about on that of that game on our TikTok. So go down in the description, y'all. Check that out because that game was crazy. If you don't remember, like, they
yeah,
were playing hard, like physical, intense basketball down the stretch of that game for the last like 10 minutes. It was unbelievable. But and like you said, yeah, no, back in the day, like they played hard. Like they actually tried. Like Jordan and Kobe, like it was actually a game. Like it wasn't like super physical all the time, but it was a game. It was not just up and down the court. But as far as the like the winning team gets home court, I like the idea, but my problem is I don't think that that's the long term solution because I saw it on Twitter today too, and there was some guy was saying how, like, let's say you're on the Eastern Conference team and like you're you're gonna have players who are not even in the race. You're gonna have them who don't really care about home court advantage, and then like I don't know. It just they're saying how like if I'm Giannis or whatever, like why would I want to help like Jalen Brown or Tatum get home court advantage? If they win. So I don't know. I think that's definitely an incentive, but I don't know if that's the long term solution. As far as like fixes, I don't know. I don't know what to do at this point. There's got to be something that the NBA can do. Maybe it's monetary, like give the winning team like money. I don't know what it is, but it's got to be there's got to be some kind of incentive for these players to actually play because right now it's just a track meet, and this year was one of the worst, I think.
The second half of the season is about to come to a start, and there are plenty of teams that can make a push for the playoffs. Brian, let me hear your thoughts.
Man, the Western Conference is going to be really fun all throughout. The East, the top 4 or 5 teams, that's what I'm excited for too. But as far as the West, like I think there's so many teams that can make a push. Teams like the Lakers, the Warriors, like we know these teams have superstar players that just haven't put it together. But they both have been playing well recently before the All-Star break. I wouldn't be surprised to see both those teams climb at least into the 7, 8 spot, maybe even as high as the 6 in a team like the Warriors. I don't know if the Lakers will get there. I think the Warriors are a better team right now, which is kind of hard to say, but I think right now the Warriors are playing better. So I could definitely see that happening. As far as the East goes, the top 4, I'm looking at it right here on my phone here, the Celtics, the Cavs, the Bucks, and the Knicks, and even the Pacers and the Sixers. There's like 6 games in between 5 of those 6 teams. So that's going to be super, super fun. I will say, I think that Boston is the favorite to win the championship right now. I think that they have the best record in the East, the best record in the league. They look like they look like the favorites, right? But I will say, I wouldn't put it past any of those teams in the East to take them to 7 games. Out of those 6 teams I just mentioned, out of any of them, the Cavs especially, I think the Knicks and the Pacers are the 3 teams that could really give the Celtics a run for their money. And hey, I mean, once you get to the playoffs, it's a whole different animal. And like I said, as far as the West goes, there's like 4 teams that are within like a game or 2 of each other. That is a stacked race. It's honestly one of the closest races we've seen in recent memory. We haven't seen these many really good teams this far into the season, this close together in the standings. So it's going to be a ton of fun these next couple
Yeah.
months, seeing where teams end up and how the standings move around. But man, I'm excited. The NBA once All Star break happens, that's just when teams start to turn up, and I'm excited. Thursday night, Warriors, Lakers, first game back. Like I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this East and Western Conference, there's so much action that could happen and so many different outcomes. It's going to be really exciting. Starting in the East, I mean, I think any of the top 6 teams can definitely make a push for even the 1 seed, but more importantly, winning out of the Eastern Conference. The Pacers, the Sixers, the Knicks, Bucks, Cavs, and Celtics. Obviously, the Celtics are the 1 team right now. Tatum, Jalen Brown, and even Kristaps Porzingis are absolutely killing it as their big 3 trio. Talking about my Cavs for a minute. Yes, I'm from Cleveland. I'm a Cavs fan, diehard. And one thing that I think is going to be crucial in our push for the 1 seed as we are 6 games back, which yes, I know is a lot, but there's still plenty of games to be played, is the play from Darius Garland. I mean, we missed him for the first or middle chunk of the season with like a broken jaw. But after the All-Star break in his last 2 seasons, he went from averaging 16 points a game to 24 points per game. So after the All-Star break, he seems to heat up, and adding that could definitely be a real solid addition to not, if not get the 1 seed, secure the 2 seed. In regards to the Bucks, I mean, I've never been a huge fan of the Giannis Dame playing together, but I know they're 2 great superstars and can make plays happen. The Knicks, they're catching fire, and yes, I think they can definitely make a push for the playoffs. The Sixers, it's honestly just a waiting game with them. They're sitting at 32 and 22, very prominent to make the playoffs, but without their superstar Embiid, it's kind of just like win as many games as you can until he comes back. And then the Pacers, as we saw this weekend, even if it's just a skills challenge, they have plenty of rising stars like Benedict Mathurin, Tyrese Halliburton, who's amazing. So I think the East is definitely going to be a really good competitive aspects going forward. When heading over to the West, the Timberwolves are sitting at 39 and 16, and yet on sportsbooks they're still 22 to 1 odds to win the NBA Finals, which in my opinion is insane. Teams like the Warriors have even and Mavericks have like similar or even less odds.
That's
which
crazy.
is honestly crazy because they're sitting at about 7 games ahead of the Mavericks and 12 games ahead of the Warriors. So it's going to be exciting. In my opinion, I think any of the top 5 teams from the West can even win, and you can also never count out the Lakers or the Warriors because LeBron and Curry are two of the best players on the planet. So I think we should give our 2 picks from each conference to win it all. Brian, I'll let you go first, starting with the Eastern Conference.
Okay. In the East, I'll give you the okay. So we'll give like the Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals like matchup pretty much.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We'll go East. You say it, I say it, and then West. You say it, I say
Okay.
it. Like
Okay.
so,
Okay.
back
For
and
the
forth.
East, my Eastern Conference Finals matchup: Celtics and the Knicks. I I just have a feel if the Knicks can be healthy, the Knicks are gonna be there. No disrespect to your Cavs. Listen, they're hooping. I'm underrating them. I'm hating. I get that, but I just think
That's
the
it. I
Knicks
want to hear your opinion.
defense is well equipped to stop any offense in the East. But I think the Celtics will definitely be there. And aside from that, I like the Knicks defense against any of those other offenses, in my opinion. So that's my Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay. Well, you know me. I'm gonna go Celtics, Cavs.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, Celtics are amazing. They're playing great. And my Cavs, I think this is the year we can get it done. 2016, we're coming back. Nothing would make me happier to be in the NBA Finals. And yes, I know the squad is young. Garland, Mitchell, but I think Mobley and Jared Allen really control the ball good down low. And Mobley's been able to shoot a lot more recently. So I really like this team. I really think we can get there.
Yeah, no, you guys definitely could. With the way that Jared Allen's playing, like you said, like he's really holding down the paint. Like he's an underrated player. Like obviously being a Nets fan, I saw him play on the Nets for a while. Love the guy, but he's a super underrated player. If D Mitch continues to play the way that he does, like you said, you get that production from Garland. Definitely could see the Cavs in there. I just decided to go with the Knicks, but I could definitely see it go
Yeah,
another way. It's kind of funny we both don't pick the Bucks with Dame and Giannis. That's kind of crazy. We might be like
I don't like the
looking back
Bucks.
on this in like 3 months, like what are we doing? Like this is kind of it's like right in front of us and we don't see it. But I don't know. I also don't have faith in Doc Rivers. I just don't think that I don't know. I don't have faith in it yet. I haven't seen it work. I don't know. Until I see it work, I'm not gonna put them in there.
The reason that I think the Celtics and the Cavs play such good basketball with the players that they have is that their players don't seem really selfish. I mean, Tatum and Jalen Brown and Kristaps share the ball very well, along with Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, I mean, regarding Donovan Mitchell and Garland, like the two teams, like Donovan Mitchell's obviously the number one and Tatum's their number one, but I don't think they have very high egos, or at least it doesn't show in the way they play. And I think that's really hard for teams like Giannis and Dame, where both of them are two high competitors. And even the Suns with Booker and KD, I think they do a better job of it. But I think when there's really no egos going on and everyone is trusting the other people to make shots, I think that's where the teams are elevated.
Right. No, I definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that. All right, you want me to give my West now?
Yeah.
All right, bro. From the West, and this is crazy. We haven't even talked about this team today. The Suns and the Clippers. That's my Western Conference Finals matchup. I think the Suns and the Clippers. The Clippers look really good. I like they're kind of flying. I feel like they're flying under the radar. No one's really like people are talking about them, but not like oh like talking about them, talking about them. The Clippers are a loaded team. They have their coach is great. Ty Lue's an awesome coach. The big three of Harden and Paul George and Kawhi seems to be meshing really well. They went on a huge run with them a couple weeks back. I really think this team's going to the Western Conference Finals, and they might just go. I think they're my pick to go to make it out of the West. I think I'm going to pick the Clippers to make it out
All
of the
right.
West, and the Suns. They've started to look better. I just come playoff time. I just think that if they can just kind of play, if their role players can play well, they're loaded. Like Book, Beal, and
Yeah.
KD could drop 80 combined points a night. That's literally their ceiling. Like so, I mean we've seen this with big threes over the past couple of years. I don't want to talk about the Nets. That forget it. But it hasn't worked. But I think this team will get to the Western Conference Finals.
I like those picks, and honestly, at first glance, I was thinking about those two teams too, but I'm gonna stray away from the Suns, thinking, in my opinion, because I don't think they share the ball well enough, and I think that it's two egotistical guys with Booker and KD, and I really am not a huge KD fan, so I do not like the
Yeah.
snake Kevin Durant. But I'm gonna definitely agree with your Clippers pick. I mean, that team is going crazy. Kawhi, Westbrook, Harden, PG. They have a good, solid team, and I think they play really well together, and they've definitely heated it up. 7-3 in their last 10 games. So I'm gonna take the Clippers to win the West
Okay.
in general. And my opponent, I'm really torn. I'm actually really torn. I don't know who to pick, but I think I'm just gonna take the Timberwolves. I mean they're first right now, and yes, I know they're only first by 1.5 games, but I think they have so much talent in their big men with Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns being able to be a two-level scorer, being able to shoot, and Anthony Edwards is an absolute stud. I mean, he's not gonna be shooting left-handed anymore, so he's gonna be able to drop points. And I think yeah, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers Clippers NBA Finals is going to be among us, and I'm going to have to pray for my team because this Clippers team is really strength in numbers and just great guys.
See, that would be fun. That would be real. It's crazy. I feel like this year we're gonna see some final, like, unless the Celtics make it again. We are gonna. I feel like there's a great chance that we see some team that hasn't been in the finals especially out of the West, in a long time. Like as
Mhm.
much as I want to say it, I think the Lakers and the Warriors can make the finals. You can't count them out, but I don't see it. I wouldn't bet on it,
Well,
right? So there's a good
I
chance
mean,
that
I wouldn't bet on that either. But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's nice. It's nice in any major sporting event. We didn't really get to see it this year in the NFL, but for an underdog team or a team that we don't see every single year to make the playoffs and even make the championship is always entertaining
no,
and
definitely,
refreshing.
definitely. And also,
Yeah.
I was gonna, before I picked the Suns, I was gonna pick Oklahoma City. And I like OKC. I really like OKC. Shy might be MVP right now, but I just
I
couldn't.
think
I
so.
just think the experience of OK. Same thing with the Timberwolves, right? The experience of some of these teams and the Pelicans, right? Like I just don't know how that experience level is gonna. I feel like once you get to the playoffs, like you can't count out like we said, we can't count out Steph, Braun, KD. I just feel like you just can't. Like they know how to win. These guys haven't been there yet,
Yeah.
and that's not their fault. But they just
You
haven't
want
been
the
there yet.
veterans when it comes to the playoffs. Guys that are experienced, they know how to play.
Yeah.
And I think the playoffs is just a completely different stage than the regular season. So
No, yeah, I
I
completely
completely
agree.
agree with you. The funny thing is, I almost picked the Pelicans as my dark horse team to make a run. I do like the Pelicans. I like Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson. I think they're both skilled, and I think their defense is pretty good as well. So I don't know. I almost picked them, but I think they're too young. I think they're too young and inexperienced when it comes down. I think they'll make the playoffs for sure as the 5-6, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, we definitely will see. But that is gonna pretty much do it for our predictions now. Now we're gonna go into a segment that we haven't done yet. We've seen it. I'm sure y'all have seen it on TikTok and like all over your Instagram reels or whatever y'all watch. We're gonna go through and we're gonna draft our best game winners of all time. So we're each gonna have three picks essentially. We're gonna go back and forth, and we're each gonna go alternating, picking which game winners we think were the best of all time, or like our favorite, whatever, something like that. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fire. So we're gonna get into that. Like I said, make sure y'all follow us on TikTok because we're gonna be posting on there a ton as we already do. But yeah, let's jump right into this draft.
Coming in at number 3 for my top 3 game winners of all time. Kyrie Irving's spin around mid-range jumper against the Golden State Warriors on Christmas Day in 2017. I mean, that was an absolute electric shot, and Kyrie Irving just knows how to get it done in the crunch time, and I think that was just amazing.
I remember
Brian,
watching
what
that
about you?
game. I remember watching that
Yeah,
game on Christmas,
Christmas
and
Day.
it was that was like the pinnacle of like Warriors Cavs. Like that
Um,
was it. Like,
yeah.
and he hit that turn over Clay. Oh my, like
At
unbelievable
that point,
shot.
at that point, the series was 1-1. So
No, that was the Christmas Day game.
no, I mean like the series like
Oh,
2015,
like
2016 was
yeah,
1-1.
yeah, yeah. No, you're right,
Really,
dude.
they didn't like smoke us two more times before,
Yeah, no,
but
no, dude. Well, that was
um,
KD. Whatever it happens, right?
yeah, the snake. Anyway, it was just a great shot, and it was clutch. So
Okay,
Brian, what about your number
okay.
three?
My number three. I'm gonna take Dame Dollar against OKC to send them home over PG from damn near half court. Yo, let me tell a story about this. I was watching this game live by myself at my house. My whole family had gone to sleep. I was just watching this game. Dark room, just me and the TV. We're just chilling. I will never forget Twitter when that shot went in. Twitter was like I don't know if I've ever seen like a crazier reaction out of everybody watching a game. Like everyone was watching that game on Twitter, everyone in like the basketball world, whatever, and the reaction from all of us was the exact same. Like, did that just happen? That's a shot that I'll never forget, and I had to put it up there. It's an unreal shot.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was my number one.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
So
sorry I just took it from you, but like I had to, I had you're gonna have to change
that was
your picks,
a
bro.
great shot, and I mean, that's your number three. I mean, I'm excited to see where the first two go.
To be
All
fair,
right, so my
to be fair, I ranked okay. Maybe the Dame shot might have been better, like skill wise, in these top two, but the other two I just felt like I enjoyed more. I don't know. I kind of took at that approach, but go ahead.
all right. So back to my Cleveland Cavaliers bias. I'm gonna take the number two shot to the running floater by LeBron against the Raptors
That's a
in
good
the
one.
2018 playoffs. Um, just an electric shot, time winding down, and he shoots a little one-off floater from the left side, bank right in, seals the deal with the Cavs. And yeah, maybe I'm just a biased Cleveland fan picking two Cleveland game winners, but my final one is not a Cleveland game winner. But I'm just thinking of game winners that I love to see and benefited my team, honestly. So maybe that's biased for you. I don't know, but yeah.
No, dude, that's a great. I had that on my list too. That shot, just one. It's LeBronto. Like he just owns that franchise. Like he just does. And there's
He really does.
when the documentary about LeBron comes out, that's got to be like a segment, just like about LeBron versus the Raptors because he owns that team. He owns them. Okay,
I
coming in
know.
at number two for me. Number two,
Yeah.
this is one that people I think forget about because it was a playoff game, but like people like it wasn't like to win the series or anything. I'm going Kobe Bryant overtime game winning mid range against the Phoenix Suns. This shot, I obviously wasn't watching this game live, but when I watched the highlights back and watched like the end of this game, he hit a high arcing layup to tie the game and send it to OT. And then in overtime,
Mhm.
off the jump ball, gets at the scorer's table, 4 seconds, couple dribble, step, pull up, midi, fade away, Kobe, just pure. And then he like did his celebrate, I mean the whole thing. Like I think that was this celebration. I don't remember. It was one of those. But dude, that shot, it's
I think,
Kobe.
yeah.
I had to put him in there. That's one of my favorites of all time. Just a cold-blooded shot, and you can just tell he operates at his own pace. The moment is never too big for Kobe, and that's just one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're down to the one spot. I'm gonna give a few honorable mentions here.
Go ahead.
One honorable mention is the LeBron three-pointer over Indiana in the 2-2 series. That was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Another Cleveland honorable mention was the Kyrie Irving shot with 56 seconds left
Right.
in the Warriors game 7.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not a buzzer beater, so I can't really count that.
Yeah.
But all right, my number one. I don't know if this would be over the Kyrie shot, but I think this is an insane shot, especially from a player who really doesn't shoot the ball like this anymore. I'm gonna take Russell Westbrook and the Thunder over the Denver Nuggets. I don't know exactly what year this is, but they were losing to the Nuggets 103-105 with 3 seconds left, and Westbrook puts up a deep three, and it's just nothing but net. And he just sends the Nuggets home packing, and it was just an insane shot, buzzer beater, how it played out, and it was really entertaining.
And
So
that
yeah,
was the year that he broke the triple double record too.
double
Like that was
record
his
with
crazy
41, I
year.
think,
Something
42, I think it might
something
have
like
been.
that. I don't know the
I think it
exact
was
number.
42.
But yeah, no, that was the year that Russ went crazy, and then that was the final game of the season, and he ended it like that. Like I remember that. That was crazy. Russ, I respect Russ, man. He's obviously not the same player he
It's a lot
was,
of hate.
but you got to respect him. He
Yeah,
always plays 100%, always.
Mhm.
Okay, so
I completely agree.
going into my number one, I'll give an honorable mention. Now, this is one that I was going. My honorable mention here that I was gonna put uh, was MJ's shot against the Jazz in the finals. That's just
Yeah,
a cold-blooded shot. Like that's Michael Jordan doing his thing. But the number one, the best game winner, the one that I think is, I mean, Steph Curry versus Oklahoma City. Like, come on, like
yeah, I knew you were
that
gonna pick
shot.
that.
This is another one of those games where I was fortunate enough to be watching it, and it's just one of those games where you guys, everyone watching this, and even you, Case, like you know what I'm talking about. When you see like a game that you know is gonna be like history, and you remember right where you were in that moment. I remember where
Mm.
I was watching this game in my living room, and my God, like that game was an awesome game, back and forth. Both those teams, KD was going off, Steph was going off, super intense game in Oklahoma City, and he pulled that thing one step in front of half court, bah, just
Yeah.
scat, bottom of the net. I was like, it's that I think that was the moment. Like I loved Steph Curry. Like I said in previous podcasts, like he kind of like made me fall in love with basketball, but that moment after that moment, that's when I really started to like watch like every one of his games. Like I think because
Mhm.
that it's just it's greatness, man. It's greatness, and for me, I had to put that on top of my list. I couldn't make a list of game winners without that shot. That's iconic. The Mike Breen call, just all of it. It was perfect.
I mean, yeah, Mike Breen is known for some very prominent calls, and Steph Curry is an amazing shooter. I mean, I don't know if you'd say he's the most clutch shooter of all time, but he's definitely up there. He
Yeah.
definitely has clutch time shots, and he's always entertaining. And if he's got a shot with anything more than a second left in the game, he has a high probable chance of making that shot and taking that opportunity. So I think that was a really good list. I don't think we really missed any big ones, honestly.
No, I mean, there's
But
ones that
then
are
again,
interchangeable, but like, I mean, at some point, like, no one's, I don't think anybody can argue with the six that we picked. If you guys do argue
but
with us, let us know in the comments, like, what are your top three, top five buzzer beaters of all, or like game winners of all time? Let us know
yeah,
down below, and also let us know what other drafts we should do, because we're gonna start doing this pretty regularly. This is kind of fun. We see it all over TikTok, and like, it's super fun to watch. So let us
mm,
know what
yeah.
else you guys want to see us draft and like other things like that.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for the Alley podcast this week. I'm Casey. It's my co-host Brian. And I think this week we went over a bunch of very interesting topics. Let me know in the comments if you have any other drafts you want to see us do. I think we're definitely going to try to post another one on TikTok throughout the week, definitely at least one. And yeah, thank you guys.